Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bw'umugusi umuruburi kubwatya nabo kurigirirwa na kiro muntu.
Morire Y'Ensoko TV ne mambiende ngiyana inde yerituko erigari 15 narimo asumutinyo 5 narimo mwaka bwe chilifu ibere meronkebere na 5 narimo no kugenda kwane buna kwabokere buyana boyo kwagendere buya kuruboka kiete wekera boni gana boyo nogandira tukubwati merobere Y'Ensoko TV kurwe 11 wekera boni na chiaragire inye chiabono mambia imeyo murobere bwe Etorobini wechakera bono wekachinsa isano ne mochia bono mubaso asogo chikosangana ko kwanira mangana ao ayogendere to korekana ya itrina boyigo ayara chikubwatia ase eliare tusanga sobwa mwetera senchira yo mutandao gwekerera sensemeria YouTube nabega namba ya mawasiliano nigere noti isano na ibere isano na isatu isano na isatu isano nemo isano nemo isano nemo isano nemo isano nemo isatu karatandira tugusanga asubwa mo nabagotuma ujumbe yago oro tuchake usanga asubwa memambi abane Eliane Ishmael Mogere. Asomo chakane mambia bono ekiama kia safina gwetera asomura iwe kiame kyo Jimmy Wanjigi nigo kiabiremo minchano mswada w'ikibesa mu mwaka w'ikilifu ibere merongebere na 5 narimo asengincho nigo bwata mangana ara chikumigomo Kenya korengana na barabo Wanjigi asekwane aya nigo boiga kwanira mangana ao aye serikali yasirwe ikirania asaba Kenya gokwana aseboigo aganirie aba Kenya banyare gukana omuswado yo bwensi asobwagari.
I want to call on a total rejection of the finance bill. The finance bill is hoping to levy taxes of another 120 billion shillings from us. We cannot afford it. This is money that is not going to help us. The budget is not a people's budget. It's a budget premised on sustaining illegal borrowing and a government continuing its impunity on us. I urge Kenyans, I urge Parliament to completely reject this finance bill. Kenyans can no longer you tell us it is not direct tax to us. We know at the end of the day we are going to bear the burden of that tax that you put on anybody that manufactures, anybody that imports. That cost comes. So don't try and fool us. Don't try and fool us. The CES had previously promised a budget that he was going to reduce taxation. That's clear. And we all know why. We are alive to the incompetence and the lies of this regime. The third point I would like to make is I was very happy to see my good friend Aden Duale on the Thursday last week when the budget statement was read, acknowledge a very important aspect of our finances. Aden Duale, who as you well know is an insider in this regime, is a CS in this regime, and previously Aaron Cheriot, accepted a very major thing. He said that there has been illegal borrowing and he attributed it to the Uhuru regime period. Thank you, Aden Duale. The assertion we've been making about ODS debt. Now, if that is the case, why does this regime pay for illegalities? The only reason you are paying for those illegal debts that you are claiming exist, and make note, these illegal debts have been even mentioned by the Auditor General, by the Controller of Budget. The only reason this government of yours is still paying those illegal debts is because you must be accomplices. You are together in that illegality, and if not, prove to us that you're not by stopping to pay those illegal debts you are claiming were done by Uhuru Kenyatta. Cut them off today, Bwana Duale. Cut them off, Bwana Badi. Cut them off, William Ruto. Cut them from this budget instead of coming to charge us more taxation through the finance bill. Kindly cut them off to prove to us that you are not part and party to those illegal debts that you claim were taken during Uhuru Kenyatta's period. There's something else Adan Duale said. He said that this regime of theirs, under William Ruto, is not taking illegal debt. And this comes to my fourth point. If you look at what is called the budget revenue estimates, which we are going to circulate copies, those copies are going to tell you that in those budget estimates, according to Article 220 of the Constitution, they constitute the revenue estimates, the taxes the budget is going to collect, the grants and the loans that they wish Parliament to pass in this coming financial year. If you look at them, and we are circulating these copies, you will find there is an aspect called domestic debt, domestic loans, domestic borrowing. In the budget statement last week, CS Bandi said that they are going to borrow 1.03 trillion in the domestic market this coming financial year. I ask you to look at the page, the table of contents of those budget estimates before Parliament stipulate as net domestic borrowing at page 24. When you go to page 24, you will find there is no net domestic borrowing number. It does not exist. It is zero and has never existed. Even in the previous years, if you look at each column, has never existed. So this claim of domestic borrowing being legal, it is not. It has never been. It is never passed by Parliament. And you are doing it again this year. So there are two things I would like to stress, apart from the illegality. One, that we know this domestic borrowing does not exist, and there's nobody really that is taking this domestic debt to the tune of 7 trillion. There's no such money in the market. This is fake. Number two, anybody that is now going to pretend that you are buying treasury bills and bonds in this next financial year, no, it is not anchored in our laws. It has not been passed by Parliament, and you will never be paid. This is odious to Kenyans. We are not sovereign to it. We will not pay you. Buyer beware. It is your risk. I'm telling you, that paper, you will throw it in the dustbin, because this regime will change, and it's going to change next year, and it will not be honored. I advise you, and I advise all Kenyans, do not buy a treasury bill. Do not buy anything to do with treasury bills or bonds. They are fake, completely fake. The fifth point, I just have 6 points. The fifth point I want to make is I saw a comparative so-called budget you put in the media, the people's budget. I don't know people's budget in which people, because my colleagues, and I will say they are my colleagues because we are in the opposition, led by Kalonzo Musyoka. They call themselves the United Opposition. Came out with the people's budget. They claim a people's budget. And that people's budget is not too dissimilar to John Bundy's budget. It is about tax, debt, and borrowing. He even proposes the same illegal borrowing, domestic borrowing of 500 billion. Please, Kalonzo Musyoka and my good colleagues, stop letting us down. You're letting us down. Do some basic homework. You cannot continue the same things. You are just doing the same thing as Ruto. There's no difference to what you're proposing. What you're proposing will not change people's lives. Please do some homework and stop letting us down in the opposition. This is not how you're going to conduct the people's affairs, because people are truly in trouble. So, shape up a bit more. And please get that message with the way it deserves, because I mean it with goodwill. I don't mean it in any other way. We are talking about 60 million Kenyans that are having a very hard time. A very, very hard time. So the sixth is very simply this, that we as Safina have been very clear about our budget. Our targets are very clear. We are saying we will never borrow again, and we are not going to borrow from the domestic market because we will not need to. We are going to very clearly not pay this odious debt that you can now see the Ruto regime is claiming to be illegal. We will not pay it. You are tutalipa. In the year 2027-2028 financial year, it is going to be 2.8 trillion in debt payment. We will not pay it. And because we won't pay it, it means our taxes will be cash rich by 2.8 trillion. When you're cash rich at 2.8 trillion, there's so much you can do for Kenyans. The first thing we are going to do is ensure that primary school, high school, and TVET, the capitations to the standard of living of that year shall be paid. We have estimated that to be just under 400 billion shillings. We shall pay it from that money we are saving from paying debt. So no parent shall take from their pocket money towards primary school, high school, or any TVET program. We shall talk about universities later. The second thing is that we are saying we shall scrap completely, SHA, NHIF, or whatever other health levies that are put on Kenyans. Universal health care.
Tugotigara ase ayabwatikaine ne budget no bigaso muswada w'ekibesa bwo mwaka w'ekilifu 2025 narimo ekiama gya kadu asili nse y'uburayi osomura w'ekiama ekyo nzile oyo manyekano na nzile nigo na barabo aberema minchane budget 8 trillion nye chinuguta isano na isato eyabake mu waziri w'ekigancha ekenene John Mbari eyubatebire etaikiranete asegati yari bakwanire nigoro yengana y'ekibesa kikogenda ase ki county ekikire chinke mono abwase boigo bakwanire igoro yoko igoro yokoremara kwa bokoreri bwo bachenu n'ekisemi ime yense gukora kurase county ya Mombasa nige kiame kyo kyaboriri abakenya kwa mama minchano muswada w'ekibesa bwo mwaka w'ekilifu 2025 narimo nakoyokana bwensi.
Tunaangalia mapungufu ambayo yako katika Wizara ya Afya. Tukiwa tunajua sote kwamba hospitali nyingi hazina madawa kwa sababu ya mgao kidogo unaopewa governors. Tulikuwa tunatarajia bajeti hii mgao ule wa magavana ambapo ndipo wananchi wengi wanapata huduma zao ulikuwa utaongezwa. Lakini cha kushangaza ni kwamba kulikoongezwa pesa ni State House, pesa ya chai ambayo ni 1.2 billion zaidi, ambapo governors hawakuongezwa pesa ya kutosha. Hata hiyo national government tunaona kuna walimu wengi vibarua ambao wanaitwa interns, tofauti na serikali zilizopita. Kwa mfano wakati ule mwingine sisi tuliweza kuwaondoa walimu 18,000 waliokuwa ni interns wakaandikwa permanent and pensionable. Tulikuwa tunatarajia wakati huu Teacher Service Commission, mwajiri wa walimu apewe pesa za kutosha ili wale vijana wetu ambao wanafundisha GSC wawe wanaandikwa permanent and pensionable, si kuweka vibarua. Kwa sababu msimamo wa kadi asili ni haki kwa wote. Tunataka walimu wote wa Kenya walipwe sawa kulingana na misimamo ya kitaifa, kwamba equal work for equal pay. Lakini sasa inaonekana vijana wa Kenya wale ambao wako katika Wizara ya Elimu wanafanya kazi nyingi na malipo kidogo. Kadi asili ingetaka kuiambia serikali na wabunge ambao watazungumzia budget hiyo kwamba ule mgao na ile allocation ya Teacher Service Commission iweze kuongezwa ili walimu wale ambao ni vibarua waweze kuandikwa permanent and pensionable. Tunaangazia vile magavana wamepewa pesa kidogo, tofauti na msimamo wa Senate kwamba walikuwa waongezwe pesa. Ukilinganisha development, maendeleo ambayo yamefanywa sasa hivi kwa muda wa miaka 4 katika zile counties na wale ma MCAs wakiwa ndio wanaangalia. Ukiangalia ma MCA waliokuweko wakati wa Uhuru Kenyatta walijenga, kuna miradi inayoonekana. Lakini ma MCA ya wakati huu wamekuwa ni maskini kwa sababu hawapewi pesa ya kutosha katika county government, hata allowances zao zimepunguzwa. Mambo ya mashamba kama yalizosema, kama kumetengwa pesa za kulipa mashamba ya watu wa pwani, kununua mashamba ya wale absent landlord ili zipewe watu wanaostahili, ni lazima hali hiyo ifanyike kwa uwazi, openness and transparency. Manake wakati mwingine serikali inatenga pesa ya kazi fulani, lakini maofisa husika aidha pesa zile wanazitumia kivyao, kwa sababu kuna professional corrupt officers ambao mgao huo wa mtu wa kawaida aidha wanaochukua wao ama mashamba hao wanajigawia wao ambao ni maofisa.
On national matters, the party expresses concern over the recently presented national budget, noting that it falls short of adequately addressing the pressing economic challenges facing ordinary Kenyans. We call upon the government to prioritize measures that reduce the cost of living, creating jobs and stimulate sustainable economic growth. Regarding the recent court judgment touching on former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's case, the party respects the independence of the judiciary and urges all parties to uphold the rule of law while safeguarding constitutionalism, justice, and democratic principles. The NEC also expressed concern over the slow progress of land compensation matters in the coast region. The party reiterates its long-standing position that affected communities deserve fair, transparent, and timely compensation. Historical land injustices and unresolved compensation claims continue to undermine economic development and social justice in the region and must be addressed as a matter of urgency.
Gotigana nayo magega ya obisi ya NGCDF imense moye bunge ya Kikuyu gusambwa neni wechibeza chinyinge gusari gwenga kiyo korobekana ku muswara wechibeza westariki 25 mutinyo gatano ari mu mwaka w'echilfu 2024 nigo ekina kyabakegero kenderete korengana na Kigadi Kionywe oyibo igore omurwanirwe kergo kyo bunge ese moye bunge ya Kikuyu asobochore bonene bo mwaka gocha wetrase kyama kya DCP nigamochirie omubunge obono Kimani Chungwa asogotume kariba kali yairi oburai komogosereria isiko yerichiko.
I'm happy because now we have started. Those witnesses that were supposed to come, they never reported. We just saw one witness who came because of a stolen property. And it has been long, 2 years down the line, since 2024. And we thought maybe they could come with substantial evidence of how I managed to enter to NCGF office and burn it down. To me, I think there's a lot of violation of Article 28, Article 29, Article 30, Article 38, and Article 50. Regardless of my political affiliation, a DCP party member, but because the one who is in charge, the incumbent, who is Mr. Kimani Ichung'wah, because of not fearing that I'm going out to overthrow him through the ballot, he has done a lot of wild goose chase. And I want to assure Mr. Ichung'wah that that seat that you're occupying belongs to the people of Kikuyu. And if they are going to give it to me, be worried, because come 2027, I'll be there. Yes. You can use all the manner of manipulations. You can use all the system of the governance or the state officers. You can use the police officers and DCIO officers to harass me, but I will never bow down because it is within my right to vie for that seat. So what happened to Mr. Gachagua? He was denied his right, and I know the state has been doing so to the members who have written to our party. But we are not going to bow down because we are to a ground, and people are saying it's about one term. So, Mr. Ichung'wah, we want to hear your members who are witness to come and testify on that date, and bring evidence that is sufficient that will warrant the court to give me a sentence. If you have got nothing, kindly don't come, because we are going to intimidate you today, tomorrow, and even come 27. Kwa hivyo watu wangu, one time? Mimi ni mshukiwa ambaye ameshukiwa kwamba amechoma nchi yote, lakini wajua ya kwamba ni hii kiti ya siasa ya 2027 ya Kikuyu. Na kama watu wa Kikuyu wamekubali kunipatia hiyo kiti, sioni mtu mwingine yote ambaye anatumia DCI officers, tumia mapolisi, atumia watu wa serikali kuniharas. Wanajua kwangu, kama wanataka uhai wangu, mimi sina shida. Bora tu wachunge familia yangu, na bibi yangu na watoto wangu. Lakini kama watu wamesema mambo ya one term, it is inevitable. Hamwezi mkajitoa kwa lawama zote ambazo mmefanya. Kwa sababu sisi ni watu kupigania ukweli na kupigania haki za binadamu. Hiyo siasa ndio itanifanya nifike mahali pale. Watu wa Kikuyu walisema nitafika pale. Kwa hivyo msio na wasiwasi watu wangu. Mimi nimesimama kidete, nimesimama ima faima, na mimi hakuna mtu anaweza nishusha, sababu hata mimi ni binadamu. I also want to thank my lawyers, wakili Diego Jiro. Semepiga mzuri sana kwa kotini. Ameongea mzuri. Na vile vile Arnold Otieno ambaye ni wakili wangu wa zamani. Na vile vile tuko na wakili Kimani ambaye tu amekuwa kila wakati amefika kwenye kotini. Na watu wote ambao wamefika hapa, wazazi wangu na waona pale, ndugu zangu zote, na hata maanti wangu pale, na watu wote ambao wamehusika, sana sana watu wa Kikuyu. We are all abiding citizens and we should play our role because we know justice will prevail one day. Thank you so much. Kayamura adime, mabani wanga harambe. Been advised or been instructed to keep an eye on me. Not even once they have called me with a different number just to make sure that I've been intimidated. But I've never bought fear. I don't even have that money to buy that fear. And they have been following me all over, even in my vehicle. So I know it to be tough going forward. But because I've got my pastors here, and some of the battles they have fought in the spiritual realm, we shall continue to pray for myself and for my family, and I shall be covered. And this is where the great people emanate from. The great people are born from this kind of issues of being harassed, being defeated. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years and eventually became the president of this nation. So I'm not even in the seat of Kikuyu. I'll become a governor one day and maybe the president of this nation, to bring dignity to all the leaders that are supposed to be governing the nation of Kenya. So may you remain silent. Don't talk about it. Let me talk about it. But mpige kelele huko nje, mwambie watu kazi imeanza na siasa imeanza na campaign imeanza na mambo ni one time, wakubali wasipende. Arambe.
You know, they are saying that the CDF office was burnt down. We have been waiting for them to stage their case. Today they have begun, but nevertheless, the witnesses who are supposed to come and testify about the burning down of the CDF have not turned up. The case that has been brought is that of stealing of a speaker. So we are here to see and to hear the case about the burning down of the CDF office, the burning down of the DCC's office at Kikuyu. We are still here to see that case. Ile kesi leo tulikuwa nayo ni ya wizi wa speaker. The delay is with the ODPP. They are not bringing the witnesses to testify that an office, a CDF office was burned. Today we are ready for that case. Lakini tumeletewa kesi ya wizi wa speaker. That is speaker ya CDF. Basically have a small problem, a big problem with our judiciary. The judiciary must liberate itself. The Chief Justice must come out strongly to defend the judiciary and its works. We have had recently an order given by the High Court in regard to the construction of the quarantine center in Laikipia. But despite the order, the government is going on with the construction in disobedience of a court order, and the Chief Justice has been silent on that issue. So we are asking the Chief Justice, respectively, to come out and lead the assault mission against this blatant disobedience of court order by the executive. The more the Chief Justice remains silent on this disobedience, the more the transgression will continue to take place, the more court orders will fail to be regarded. So we're asking the Chief Justice, respectively, to lead the judiciary in insisting and affirming that court orders must be respected by everybody, whether you are Mr. William Ruto, whether you are Mr. Kindiki, whoever it may be. Court orders must be respected. You heard the other day the Minister for Health. He was speaking with a lot of arrogance in blatant disregard of a court order. If I was a Chief Justice, today I would have taken an action against the individuals failing to respect the other arm of government. Not even a witch hunt. Is a strategic way of silencing the first runner, the DCP candidate, Mr. Kehagi, because Kigathi, because he's a front runner against the current inept, ineffective Ishongwa, and that is a fear that we have. But we shall not fear anything. We shall not be intimidated. There is nothing to fear other than fear itself. We shall not allow fear to hold us captive. We shall not allow fear to enslave us. We shall not allow fear to overtake the need to liberate ourselves. It is worrying, and what is suspicious is the timings, that they have just begun the trial of this case when we are just about to commemorate the anniversary of the Gen Zs, and when Kenyans are dissatisfied with the current finance bill, which will spark of demonstrations and picketing in the event Parliament continues with the oppressive, or the approval and legislation of the oppressive 2026-2027 finance bill. So this case will not make us cow down. It will not silence us. We'll continue fighting for the people's rights. And you can see Mr. Kehagi, who is a contender for the Member of Parliament for Kikuyu, is with us and one of the accused persons. So Mr. Kehagi, you are being persecuted for the belief that this country must change. When you get the opportunity to serve these people at that level, make sure that you have a distinction between the current blood of MPs and yourself. Otherwise, we are here in solidarity with the spirit of one term. Again, I say we are here in solidarity with the spirit of one term. And this one term is a reality. One term is a philosophy. One term is a way of life. We are not going to rest until we take Mr. William Ruto home. And we should not just say that we are taking Mr. William Ruto home. we will make sure that he pays for all the transgressions, and we shall repatriate all the monies that he has banked elsewhere. Those that have lost their land through his hands will get it back. When we get the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Harambe!
This matter has particularly set off, it's kicked off, and that is good because it means then that the tact that the prosecution was using with regards to delaying this matter is coming to a halt. So of course today, as my senior indicated, we dealt with one witness. Our intention is to deal with all of them so that we can of course now leave it to the court to decide whether Mheshimiwa here has a case to answer or not. So we are hopeful that come September the 22nd through to the 24th, we'll be able to have concluded that particular aspect, and we can then proceed to ensure that, of course, justice is done to Mheshimiwa. There is no evidence as such that actually paints Mheshimiwa and even the other accused persons as being involved with the arson claims that were levied against them. So we ask his supporters to continue praying, and as his legal team and their legal team will continue to do our part, which is to push forth and ensure that we conclude with this matter. Indicated that they had 25 witnesses.
Asense muyende ababwati nibo igabakora imbere mu beserekali eritko insi umurubere umenye kairubu na jami mara mashinani nigo bagenderere netaro yabo ikasense muyanaro kirgo kwanere mirubere oya magendero yekira nigo nabo igera chikwikirani wane serikali yabono bakoragwa no muri kyo na se wizara yabo chenumeru mudoni asense muyanaro kunigaruro kuboria uchi asabara inabana siasa kubekense mo siasa mono asamangana abwati kaine nobo chenu na eriyo kurwa bakora liguchese umwana inchi nabo kwari bagaguchese serikali kurwa obokora liguchese obokora bwo bachenu guchese umwana inchi.
Ini mambo ya afya tusiweke siasa yoyote. Hawa jeshi wanaweza wakakusajilisha kwa SHA. Wanakuambia kwa utaratibu utajiandikisha aje kwa SHA na tent iko pale. Na kwa sababu gani? Katika mfumo ya NHIF watu walikuwa 20% peke yake, wale walikuwa wanaenda katika mahospitali wanafaidika. Saa hii unaambiwa jiandikishe leo, jiandikishe saa hii, alafu unaambiwa nenda hospitali na unatibiwa. Kazi yao ni wanafanya kutoka kwa nyumba moja kwenda nyumba nyingine wakikupima blood pressure. Sema blood pressure. Wakikupima ugonjwa wa sukari. Sema ugonjwa wa sukari. Wanakukumbusha time ya kwenda clinic, mambo ya mtoto wako mdogo ama mjukuu wako. Wanakuambia lazima aende apigwe chanjo. Wanakukumbusha pia kula vizuri. Ama kama ni kutembea tembea, usikae pale nyumbani tu umekaa hapo alafu ugonjwa inakushika. Kwa hivyo hii jeshi mkiwaona ni madaktari wa nyanjani. Wapigieni makofi. Pastors wa kanisa, mimi mbele ya Mungu ningependa kuwaomba. Ile maneno mzuri tuseme ni mzuri. Ile inataka kurekebishwa sio fitina. Situkutane, tujadiliane na tushirikiane. Ama namna gani? Sababu hiyo ndio mwendo wa Kenya. Sisi tunataka kuongea mambo ya amani. Tunataka Wakenya wote washikane. Tunataka sisi wote, mumeona hapa wale madirectors wako hapa, wametoka Kenya mzima. Hakuna mwenye amechaguliwa ametoka hapa ati ndiye ningekuja na yeye. Tumekuja hapa sisi wote sababu Kenya ni yetu na Kenya ni sisi tutaijenga, sisi ndio tutailinda, sisi ndio tutaishikilia. Tukikaa hapa leo, ukienda nyumbani, utamwambia mwenzako nini? Utamwambia umesoma nini? Utamwambia serikali imefanya nini? Tumeshawaambia yote. Na yetu ni kuja hapa kwenu tukiwa na moyo mkunjufu na mnyenyekevu kuwaelezea kwamba hatuwaachilii, na serikali ya William Samoei Ruto haiwezi ikawacha wananchi nyuma. Tutasonga sisi wote mbele, tusonge tumeshikana kiuchumi, tushikane spirituality, na ndio maana mambo ya drugs and substance use imeongelelewa hapa asubuhi sana. Na kanisa tushikane. Mimi nimelelewa katika kanisa, na labda ndio sikuegema. Tafadhali kanisa turudi ile kuita watoto Sunday school, tunawafundisha. Mumeona sigara za siku hizi ni kama kalamu. Hata mtoto atakudanganya tu, ataweka kwa mfuko na apite mbele yako, kwa sababu haina kiberiti. Yeye anapita tu, anaenda anaweka kwa socket. Na unajua serikali ya William Samoei Ruto imeweka stima kila mahali, na tunaendelea kuziweka tu. Sasa anaweka kwa socket, utaona tu moshi. Kanisa mtusaidie. Serikali tushikane na kanisa na wananchi wengine, village elders na CHPs. Tukienda kwa community meetings, DCC unawapatia nafasi CHPs, wanasema ile wanafanyia wananchi. Kama ni watu wa kanisa pia wanapatiana mawaidha yao.
Sisi tukiwa viongozi wa serikali kuu, yani national government, ambao tumepatio kazi na His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, tulikuja tukashikana kama mwaka mmoja iliyopita, tukatengeneza kikundi ambayo kazi yetu ni kukuja mashinani, kuongea na nyinyi, kusikizana, kusikia maoni yenu kuhusu ile kazi ambayo rais ametupatia kufanya. Na hii kikundi ambayo tunajiita jamii imara mashinani, tumetoka jamii mbalimbali. Sisi tuna preach amani, tuna preach kazi, na hakuna kitu ingine tunafanya. Na tunawasikiza, mnatuambia mahali tumekosea, tunaenda tunajirekebisha. Tunawaambia ile mipango serikali iko nayo, mnatupatia feedback. Mnatuuliza maswali. Kama ni maswali ya barabara, kama ni maswali ya road safety vile mwalimu mkuu hapa amesema, tunaenda tunafikiria vile tunaweza kurespond kwa mahitaji ya jamii yetu mashinani ili iwe imara.
Kwa hivyo mkiwa wananchi, tafadhalini hakikisheni kwamba mnachukulia advantage ya zile development activities serikali inawaletea. Kama mjuavyo, rais alikuwa hapa about 2 months ago, akaweza kutulaunchia SGR. Kwa hivyo hiyo SGR, tafadhalini muhakikishe ya kwamba na nyinyi mnafanya biashara ambazo zitachukulia advantage. Kama vile ambavyo tumeona Suswa kuna delegations, kuna Saturday na Sunday huwa kuna watu wanatoka Nairobi. Train inafika asubuhi alafu inarudi jioni. So wakati inakuja asubuhi inakuja na watu wengi sana kutoka Nairobi ambao sasa wanakuja kujienjoy. Airport nayo wakati imetengenezwa, tafadhalini muhakikishe pia nyinyi nanyi mnatengeneza hotels za kuweza kuchukulia advantage ya hiyo, pamoja na yale mengi ambayo mtaweza kuyasikia siku ya leo. Kwa hivyo nanyi kama wananchi, jukumu lenu ni kuhakikisha kwamba mnachukulia advantage, mnatengeneza biashara, mnatengeneza maendeleo za kuwafanya kuweza kufaidi na yale mazuri ambayo serikali inawafanyia.
Kwa sababu nchi ya Kenya ni yetu, ni ya sisi wote, makabila zote ambaye ziko katika Kenya hii, na ni nchi ambaye Mungu ametupatia. Tuko na freedom of worship, tuko na haki zetu za katiba, na ni nchi ambaye tumekuwa na amani miaka zote, na hiyo amani ndio tunataka iendelee zaidi miaka zijazo. Ile miaka zote ambaye ziko mbele, tujue ya kwamba vile Mungu ametuweka katika dunia hii, vile ametuweka nchi hii, sisi wote ni wandugu na dada, na itafaa tuishi pamoja na tupendane ili serikali iendelee na maendeleo yake. Lakini vile najua sisi wote na binadamu. Na binadamu tuko na uzuri wetu na saa ingine tuko na changamoto zetu. Na ndio tulisema ya kwamba kwa wakati huu ni muhimu watu wa county hii ya Narok, because ile mimi najua ni hii county. Kuna wengine wanajua county zao. Lakini tulisema ni muhimu tuje tusungumuze, tuseme machache ambaye nyinyi wenyewe mtasahihisha, muone kwamba ile tunasema ni ukweli ama ni urongo. Kwa sababu mara mingi watu hupenda kusema uongo saa ingine, kwamba ukifanya kitu hapa hata la kitu inaonekana mwingine kwa sababu zingine zake za kisiasa ama zingine, mtu tu anaweza kupinga bila sababu.
Kwa majina, mimi naitwa Kundi kutoka hapa Nyamira. Mimi ndio kiongozi ya watu kutoka Nyamira. Lakini katika mzunguko wa jamii, Madam PS, tuko na shida moja. Hapa Umasaini, umuhimu uliopo na faida iliyo kuu ni wanawake waolewe wengi kwa boma na tujaze ulimwengu hapo mbele. Hapa hakuna shida. In fact, Madam PS, kama kuna uhakikisho umetupea, ndio SHA tuendelee kuongezea namba ya idadi ya watu katika SHA, lazima tuzaane zaidi. Na hiyo ndio iko hapa Umasaini. Wamasai hoe! Wamama hoe! Na wale ambao wako single, mimi kama chairman ya Single Mothers Kenya mzima, nimeamua kitu kimoja. Madam PS, tukubalie hivi. Wamama wote wako singles, tukienda hospitali kwa kujifungua kupitia kwa njia ya Roho Mtakatifu, kuongezeka kwa njia yoyote, wamama singles shaikwe kila kitu, kuzaa mpaka kulea bure. Hiyo ndio itakuwa sawa. La mwisho, bwana coordinator,
serikali nigo yabekire nsemo chibilioni 2 eri guchigosira na gokonya bari bonse banyoreta makongu engakio kurobekana asamatuko amagega maraigwense gakorwa okorari okwe ngakia airwo roboti na ikiombekerigia Kenya National Commission on Rights igoro ya bari bonse banyorete amakongu nabo igokerikie kiganiri gokorekana nigaruro kubori gochia sabarai kubekense ya Kenya bosio gwetanga kurwase chibura boru kwene kio morembe nabo igokomenya asobwa mono bwanchani eri gusikia ense ya Kenya bosio.
This framework represents a major milestone in protecting the rights of those harmed during protests, advancing social reconciliation, providing redress for victims, and strengthening our democracy. As a demonstration of our commitment, we have already allocated Kenya shillings 2 billion towards compensation and reparation for those who have suffered verified harm arising from protests and unrest, including affected families, injured citizens, businesses lost, and law enforcement officers injured in the course of their duties. But let me be clear. This is, as has been said by many, the beginning of the journey, not the end. Let me also be clear about what these payments are and what they are not. They are not the price of life, of pain, or of loss. No amount of money could ever be. The Kenya shillings 2 billion we have committed cannot replace a son or a daughter. It cannot restore years and lot of trauma. It cannot fully compensate a family, a trader, or a community for all that has been taken away from them. What it does represent is the state's acknowledgement that harm occurred, that victims matter, and that a nation heals by tending to its wounds rather than pretending they do not exist. Nor is this redress a reward for violence, looting, criminality, or unlawful conduct. Neither should it be understood as a license for disorder on one hand, or excesses and violations of rights on the other. It is redress for harm suffered by citizens, an affirmation that the rule of law applies equally to everyone. And let no one mistake compassion for impunity. Compensation does not retire accountability. The law applies equally to the citizen and the officer, to the protester and the police. Where wrongdoing occurred, accountability must follow its proper course.
Justice involves so many things, including retribution, where we punish people who do certain things by locking them up, and in many jurisdictions some are even killed, depending on the crimes they have committed. And that is justice. It is retributive justice. It is retribution. But there is also another facet of justice, which is restorative, where you restore relationships between the offender and the victim of offenses. It is my humble submission, Your Excellency, we are gathered here this morning to advance the agenda of our country more in the area of restorative justice and repairing relationships among ourselves. That's why we are here. Nothing prevents the criminal law justice system to continue with what it has been doing. All what you are saying is that there is another facet of justice that has stalled and has never been operationalized. Restorative justice, and it is more powerful sometimes and has greater effects and a bigger return on investment than retribution. Your Excellency, therefore, today we are not talking compensation. We are talking reparation, because we cannot compensate death. I mean, it's unimaginable. But we are also looking at ourselves and saying, we have hurt one another. Law enforcement agencies, ourselves as citizens, across board. But we are also saying we have realized there are gaps in our legal system which we must fill, because Article 37 is very wide. The right to assemble, the right to demonstrate, the right to picket, the right to petition authorities. We are just concentrating on the demonstration part. There is the right to assemble without demonstrating. But there is also the right to picket and the right to petition. So this is the problematic part. The most problematic part on this right on Article 37 has been the demonstration part, and has been already articulated by the Chief Justice, my Lady Justice Comey. Even in that 1 out of 4, the demonstration part of that right, because the right is in 4 parts, we have had numerous cases of exemplary and successful demonstrations, peaceful and constitutional, by various people, professionals, trade unions, and all manner of people advancing certain causes. The challenge in that demonstration right has been political demonstration. That is where the problem is. So let us not generalize that provision or generalize even the whole activity of demonstration But we're also saying, Your Excellency, we must settle accounts. We must reconcile with one another. We must repair. And that's why some form of reparations are token here, are sorry here. And this is a very complex space we have ventured into, the space of transitional justice. Very complex. And many countries do not want to address this issue. Many democracies today who have been independent for over 200 years have still pending issues around restorative justice. So we have started a journey. I want to agree with those who have advanced that position. It's going to take centuries, but there is always a starting point. And I'm very proud, Your Excellency, Deputy, at a time when you are the President of Kenya, who has faced this issue head on.
I thank my sister Clarence and the entire Kenya National Human Rights Commission for coming up with a very concise report that guides us on how to create an harmonious society, whereby we seek apology when we have gone wrong, when we bring everybody at the table to see how we can walk this journey together. Because both our Constitution, the international human rights law, recognize that the right to a remedy is itself a fundamental right. Therefore, a person whose right is violated is entitled to access justice and to receive appropriate and effective redress. Consequently, we are here because the state has recognized its obligation to ensure that victims of human rights violations have access to effective and prompt reparations for harm suffered. The right to reparations is thus the promise of our Constitution. It is the demand of justice and a requirement of the rule of law. Your Excellency, for this reason, I am particularly pleased to witness the presentation of this report. And today's event is a recognition that pursuit of justice extends to accountability and meaningful redress. As the institution constitutionally entrusted with the interpretation and protection of our Constitution and the enforcement of fundamental rights, the judiciary remains steadfast in our commitment to ensuring that constitutional guarantees are not just aspirational promises, but lived realities for all Kenyans. Just like justice is a lived reality, so is our Constitution a lived reality. And we shall continue to discharge our mandate independently, impartially, and faithfully in line with the Constitution. Importantly, we remain committed to contribute to the broader national effort of strengthening constitutionalism, accountability, and the rule of law. And as I conclude, allow me, Your Excellency, to once again commend the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights and thank you, Your Excellency, for convening this occasion. May this report serve as an important step towards strengthening our collective commitment to justice, accountability, and the protection of human rights for all Kenyans.
Biamano asoko chore Y'Ensoko TV rabo igokugenda kubwatia murubiri yega Etorobini asemambia jabono chideka ninye gorechisa isano chiabono mambia sabono tiango trase muri chiduka na nyume yose muri chiduka ningirane na yanda mange toskare TV yage mambia.
Eye Y'Ensoko TV uboroso bw'umugusi.
My name is Albert Omariba. I'm the principal of Kitwebe Technical Training Institute. Kitwebe Technical Training Institute is a government institution situated in Nyamira County We admit our students as from Standard 8 to Form 4 across all departments. Our students receive help and capitation from the government, therefore there's no worry of the fee payment. And our students pass very well in all departments, and we are able to achieve 90% pass.
Ni kweli Gitwebe Technical Training Institute ni chuo ambacho kimebobea na kinatoa mafunzo katika kiwango cha diploma, certificate na artisan katika kozi zifuatazo: Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Building and Civil Engineering, Fashion Design, Cosmetology, ICT, Business Management, Water Technology, Hairdressing and Beauty Therapy, Social Work and Community Development, Plumbing, Welding, kati ya nyinginezo.
We are having a May intake 1-1. We have 8 departments, and we have the Center of Excellence in Fashion and Design. We are actually the best in this region. This region means Nyanza and Western. So we are welcoming students who can seek admission to undertake courses and training in our various departments. So welcome to this community and learn, get the skills, and then from there you can be self-employed or you can seek for employment. Thank you.
Vile tuna short courses za computer packages na German language. Gitwebe Technical Training Institute. Skills for self-reliance. Je, una ndoto kufanya kazi ughaibuni? Mwakala wa ALM tutakuwezesha kutimiza ndoto yako. Tunatoa ajira katika nyanja mbalimbali kwenye mataifa ya Qatar, Milki za Kiarabu, Saudia, Bahrain, bara Europa, miongoni mwa mengine.
We are legally registered by the National Employment Authorities, and we are licensed to do manpower recruitment for different countries. Currently, we are reaching companies in UAE, in Qatar, Russia, and we are hoping to enlarge our boundaries.
Kwa maelezo zaidi, wasiliana nasi kwa nambari 0721151500 au 0729690571, au unaweza kutembelea katika ofisi zetu zilizopo jijini Nairobi katika jumba la Delta House, orofa ya pili, chumba nambari 204 katika barabara ya University Way.
Tupigie simu utimize ndoto yako ya ng'ambo. Karibuni sana.
Magega ya televisheni Y'Ensoko gwikasero yao kwa nyori baga ligi yaliyokuralia asegete sena mbeyemo imena isiko yeriroba liyagusi onye kubwa tokuralia gukwenyuria ogukwa gose okubonchuria bono na bokonyori baga lya bene liyokuralia asegete senieke asoliguri liyakibusani tulikere gose twakere simigwitire namba yaito yobonchuria 0788666662. Obulimira bw'essiro y'obunda bwense kulere tali nchire ndensyo rakrobulimi obuyoke enyoreri bagali ya bene kwa egwa megelyo chisemi nobosemya egyo y'obulimi bwekerero n'ekikolinga
asobolimi bochete skuru nobotigi bokumerwa mache
tebone ngondo ngiya gale konyana eyisimegete nterangete amaraba ekonete konya kukina yo kamaraba konya kuyira nganya kwama buya
beka chibuti imokio bokombe tosoe mogondo bweri nebisumu ime na pethwe machi
kile siku ya Jumanne chinsa ni bere cha muragoba wika chinsa isato somo bere obremi no botugi ekero turesemia mange kura saberemi chini gongoro kwa petrol machin
asomro bere bobremi no botugi ime Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bwomugusi mirna nabari bechinguru erikwe manyabo na wata kuruchitana nyechinse Frida Kerubo, Innocent Onyango, Clinton Ondigi, Diana Ndemu, Ishmael Mogere, Lynette Nyambane, Daniel Omwaga, eke nakige kos kiamesa yamangana maya. Eye Y'Ensoko TV oboroso bw'umugusi.
Ende mwanchumo rigele mambia bono eritwere kumenya manga yagendere tukwenekiwa emambia eye gagusko mutwe abaraya sobwamo nigo bagokirige tamukero gya serikali kubekese mo bilioni bere eri guchye gusira na kubakonya bari bonsi banyorete amakobwe ngakiyo kurobekana samatuko amagega asobwamo nigo baganiro murembe kugendera kwenekiwa ime yense na boigo richiko kubwatiwa engaki yo kurobekana.
Your Excellency, the Holy Book, the Bible says the beginning of healing lies in the acknowledgement of wrongdoing. And once you acknowledge that a wrong has been done, an adequate compensation or reparations or whatever we call it is done, society heals. The Bible also tells us the magic word in human relations is the simple word sorry, that makes people appreciate that they have been wronged, and whoever wronged them acknowledges that wrong. This country, as we have been told, has gone through some very perilous moments. But we come here today guided by your patriotic feeling, guided by our collective duty that we must heal our country.
Somewhere in the corner of my thoughts, I thought that such a law had been created, and I remember that you had to give some notice to police 5 days before. Just notice, not apply for permit. You give them notice and they provide you with the security, and you state exactly from where you want to demonstrate up to where, from what time to what time, so that security can be provided for you to do demonstrations. I thought there was something like that, but if it is not there, then let us expeditiously establish one so that we can have a law which guides demonstrations so that Kenyans can demonstrate peacefully without being disturbed and being protected by their own police, because they are the ones who pay the police. Let Kenyans pay the police who protect them, not the police who kill them. Because if you use a bullet, that bullet is bought by the wananchi you are killing. So we should not allow that situation where our own bullets are used to fight, to kill our people. And let Kenyans know that when you go to demonstrate peacefully, you don't carry a machete, you don't carry a stone, and you don't carry any weapon at all. You just go to demonstrate And if you see anybody carrying a knife or carrying a stone, you know that that is a goon. And those goons are not few. There are very many. Almost every politician is nowadays recruiting a goon to go and disrupt functions. I think that's the nature of goonism, where you have goons who are for hire by everybody. They are hired by both sides. This one hires them today, tomorrow you go and hire them and you pay them and they come and... That's nature of goonism. We as leaders should take care. We must make sure that that culture is stopped completely from our country. This culture of goonism must go. Let us, let our wananchi who are aggrieved go to the streets, demonstrate and follow the law, but not carry any weapons. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
In the history of this country, I don't think there is any party, political party, that has faced the brunt of human rights violations than my party, ODM. Your Excellency, I come from a party that has faced the brunt of injustice and human rights violations, and I also come from a region that has also faced the brunt of human rights violations, Your Excellency. I'm now an old man, but I've spent the lower part of my life demonstrating, Your Excellency. We have been demonstrating from when I joined the demonstration was in 2003. 2002, I was 24 years old. Then I found you on the way in 2007. Then you detoured, you left us there, still continuing demonstrating. Then we continued with the demonstration in 2013. We continued in 2017. One of the incidents, Your Excellency, that I cannot forget is after the elections of 2017. I went to receive my late party leader at the airport. He was coming back from overseas trip. And Your Excellency, we were in a convoy. That time, even the speaker was part of, before he detoured also, was part of that journey. So, Your Excellency, when we left the airport, and we were doing a peaceful demonstration, as we said, and we came from the airport, we came through Mombasa Road, then we joined Likoni Road. Between Likoni Road Junction and Landis Road, Apollo Saka Road, Your Excellency, risasi ililia. We lost 17 people there on the spot, Your Excellency. There are pictures. I remember I went with my former party leader to the city mortuary one time, Your Excellency, and those photos are there. I have them in my records. And we had 40 coffins in one day, Your Excellency, sending them to where I come from, that part of the country. So, Your Excellency, I want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart, because these problems have been there in the previous governments, but no one had the courage to accept that we need to address these issues of human rights violations, other than yourself, Your Excellency. I was privy and part of discussions between you and my former party leader on this issue, Your Excellency. There was the report of the NADCO that was presented to you. There was the report of the 10-point agenda. Many people never believed that those reports will be implemented. But today we are here implementing the NADCO report and implementing the 10-point agenda. When my party leader came to see you over this matter, Your Excellency, you never hesitated. I was present, I must say. You said, this is one issue that we must address as a country, and I will be on the forefront to make sure that it is implemented. And I am sure where he is today, because I know how close this matter was to his heart. I know wherever he is, Your Excellency, he is very happy.
The right to demonstrate, the right to assemble, demonstrate, picket, and petition, as provided in Article 37 of the Constitution, must be implemented fully. But even as we implement that right, it is important, and I appreciate the chair of the Kenya National Human Rights Commission, that we have a clear framework that enables these Kenyans to enjoy their right, and that we can separate the goons, the violent criminals from those who are enjoying this right. Your Excellency, as part of our efforts to establish Nairobi Metropolitan City, we undertook a study, a visit to the New York Department, Police Department, NYPD, and the London Metropolitan Police Department. One of the questions I asked the leadership, including the Cabinet Secretary, my colleague from Britain, was how are you able to handle this issue of demonstrations? Sometimes we see huge demonstrations happening in New York, in London. How are they able to handle them peacefully? Your Excellency, the answer was unequivocal. Both in New York, you know, New York has suffered the brunt of terrorism and all kinds of criminal activities, including gangs in Harlem and other parts of New York. They were very, very critical that they do not compromise at all the question of criminal activity. If they see even one demonstrator carrying any form of weapon, they take the severest measure against those criminals. Your Excellency, it's because these developed nations separate completely, Your Excellency, the question of exercising your right and the question of safety of their people and the safety of their nation. And you see, there can be no enjoyment of a right without the responsibility. Those who come to public to enjoy their rights, they must appreciate that they have a responsibility to protect the rights of others. If we are going to become a nation that is going to have a peaceful demonstrations, we must separate completely, both by ourselves, by our media, by political leaders. We must differentiate between gangs, goons, violent people, arsonists. They are burning courts, they are burning people's businesses. They come to the street well prepared to come and loot and terrorize people. Rapists who are coming in the name of demonstration. We must call them for who they are and separate them from peaceful Kenyans who are undertaking demonstrations.
Gavana wa county ya Kilifi Gideon Mung'aro nigenyorire bosio bwa County Public Accounts Committee gose committee ya SIPAC ya Senate yekoragwo no Senator Moses Otieno irikwiranira amabori igoro yobotumeki bw'ekibesa ase county ya Kilifi na boigo bokoreri bwaye ase county eyo ya Kilifi bona agenderete kwenekiwa iga.
What the auditor is reading there.
Mwakio, the template requires you to do an aging analysis. You are the 47th county you are dealing with. We have seen it in the other 46 counties. I am asking you as a professional why you did not age the debt in the financial statements to which you have appended your signature and your membership number.
Okay, Chair, what we did, we had provided a more detailed, separate report on the pending bills, which we attached, and it was accompanied to the financial statement.
Do you have an obligation to age your debt?
We did that.
Where is it in your financial statements? Because we want to see whether this 10 billion relates to the time of the former governor or the time of the current governor. And we cannot make that conclusion unless we see an aging analysis.
We did that, Chair.
Where is it? We are looking at note 31, which has trade and other payables. In the template, underneath that table, there is usually another part where you're supposed to age your debt.
Maybe just, if you can allow me, let me just give my principal accountant maybe just to respond on that.
How much of this debt is older than 1 year? How much is older than 2 years? How much is older than 3 years? That's what I'm asking. And I'm asking from you because you're the one who's appended his signature and membership number here.
Yeah, Chair, if you can allow me, this is the report which we had attached separately. It was not, the analysis was not included in the financial statement report, but it was attached separately.
Assuming you have it, can you then just tell us how much of this 11.9 billion is less than 1 year? How much of it is 2 years? How much of it is more than 3 years?
Yes, Chair, I can be able to read for you. Yeah, I'll start with the under 1 year. It is 7.3 billion. Then the ones aging between 1 to 2 years, it is 2.1 billion. Then those aging between 2 to 3 years is 621 million. Then over 3 years, it is 1,766,784,563. So the total comes to 11,928,765,228.
Thank you for saying it.
No,
But now
it
the
might
pending
intimidate his officers. I just want us to be.
Chair, what I wanted to get, so does it mean, Governor, through the
They
chair,
have paid 5.7 billion, Chair.
so out of
And for an officer to stand in front of Senate, anyway, I'll deal with it when I go home.
No. Governor,
can I finish my
maybe
question?
Senator Chiragi, so that,
Yes.
Governor, I think this is a question that is important even for you to understand. So yes, we appreciate we have paid 5 billion, but it relates to which debt? Is it the current debt, the 2-year-old debt, or the 3-year-old debt? Because pending bills, it's supposed to be a fast charge. So even when you say you're happy you are paid 5 billion, we have no visibility on whether you're doing the fast charge as required by law. So it's something that we must also probe further. Senator Chirarke.
So, Governor, out of 11 billion, you have paid 5.7 billion. In your financial statements, I have not seen the aging analysis. So maybe you might have that information here or there. What was the basis of your payment of this 5.7 billion? And now that the gentleman, was it called Mwakio, through the chair, he might have to take an oath. If he can be able to now that he says he has information there, if he has the aging analysis, can he get us that so that when the governor answers about paying 5.7 billion, it would be easier? Because, Governor, to imagine that even if you still owe another almost 5 to 6, average of 6 billion, it's still a lot of money. And I want to imagine the businessmen and women of Kilifi who are being owed by the county. I can imagine the pain that they go through. So is there a schedule of breakdown of how many people have you paid in your annexures? How many are pending bill? Governor, is it here? Is it in the part of your annexures?
So maybe so that the governor can answer about
Senator Maruma?
This 1.1 billion, is it possible to disaggregate it in terms of salaries and emoluments, because there are late exchequer release, then LAP fund, LAP trust, NSSF, payee, and so on? Is it possible to break it down like that? The 1,105,506,252.
Chair, on the issue of the bills, then I'll let the officer answer on the 1.1 billion. On the issue of pending bills, Chair, you will realize that as much as they did not put annexures, I can explain what is going on. One is, apart from the bills you have paid, they were not paid according to age. Don't forget, Chair, we have bills which, unfortunately, sometimes, like Senator Cherogay, suffer, because you realize you brought equipment for hospitals and whatever, and you need to get again more, even KEMSA, medicine and whatever, that you have to again go back and pay that one first because of the urgency of it. So sometimes you will get people who are paid according to age. Some are paid because of the services they deliver, number one. Number two is some of the current pending bills as certificates pending of ongoing projects. You will come, for example, we are building a county headquarters, which is on the 5th floor. It's being tiled at the moment. But the only money we have paid so far is about 120 million certificates. The rest are pending. So there are projects ongoing, but they still have pending certificates because of the resources management also at the same time.
Sorry, Chair, which report do you have there? Is it a report of a task force to look at the eligible and the ineligible pending bills, or is it a report of the aging analysis that was required by the control of budget? What report are we having there?
And maybe in addition, Senator Maru might add something about segregation. The justification is, Governor, you have said you pay on need assessment. The more agent like medical supplies and what have you, over ongoing projects. So that is the segregation that we wanted.
There's some here, Chair. I don't know why the officer is so nervous that he could not explain the year
Is it,
and
do
age.
we have that document, Governor, here?
Chair, maybe you don't.
Which report
this is on whose book? Did you hand over this to the?
Is it a report of the aging analysis or the
Is it
report
attached?
on a task force on the eligible?
It's not attached here, but it's here. So you needed to read it and tell the Senate that you have not attached it, but you can leave a copy. Where is that Makio fellow?
No, Governor, I thought as a former member of parliament, there is procedure of tabling documents.
Yes, I know, Chair.
Why are you doing things?
No, I know, Chair, but it's the fact that he cannot answer a question when he's holding a document here.
So maybe you have intimidated him too much.
No, so, the Senate told me, but maybe he's scared of what action will
So,
follow.
Chair, I think the issue is this 5.7 that has been paid. We must get the how it was paid. What was the justification? Then the outstanding amount, the segregation, because and then you have brought another angle, which is unusual, of raising certificates on ongoing county government projects. And I think the OAG, even in most of the financial statements, not Muriuki, there have always been analysis that it becomes easy to dispense because we have said the pending bill is a fast discharge. So I want to imagine if Kilifi is having 5 billion plus as an outstanding pending bill, based on it, and you know counties owe our people, businessmen and women, almost 200 billion Kenya shillings. In fact, the Governor, you are among the highest with the pending bill in the country, because I've seen numbers who are paying. So maybe just as out of curiosity, now that Kilifi, is there something that is attached to the historical establishment of the devolution of Kilifi that this pending bill is unusually high? Could it be attributed to some historical, like the one we just discussed, like the one where air was being paid? Chair, we need to know because Kilifi has have unusual high pending bill. What is maybe, Chair, so that we can do, but what is, Governor, what is the general reason?
Chair.
What is the
reason, Chair,
reason?
first? The first reason, Chair, the transition report I got from my predecessors, the transition committee, they gave me a bill of 3.4 billion.
Then.
That's what I took over first before I came to office. So I've been trying to manage both the development and paying the previous bills and the current bills. The unfortunate thing, Chair, also, which probably makes us look like we have a big pending bill, is that among the bills which were pending, some of the analysis of the project, because immediately I came to office, I appointed a pending bills committee, you will realize also some of the pending bills we are paying, some of those projects are not finished. So we are now put money again to finish what we saw left over around there. Don't forget the times have changed. The money required, if you required 1 million to finish a project 2022, you need maybe 2 million now to finish the same project. So those were the challenges. But we are trying to bridge the gap, Chair. You'll realize.
I think our analysis needs to be data-driven.
Yes, Chair.
And when we say it should be data-driven, your officer, the breakdown he has given us, indicates that 90% of your pending bills were incurred during your time in office. It's only 1.7 billion that is older than 3 years. So I don't think it's It's a historical problem where 90% has been incurred between 0 to 3 years.
Chingaki omurai bwensi William Ruto achakire taro ya ebeni mensi ya France na boigo bosi bw'igikaro kia 52 gia G7 ime ya France mu basorero nigo mu waziri wa mangane chinse chesko Musalia Mudavadi aerero buya bwetaro y'omurai bwensi ase ensi yo na boigo alia arachiko kwanera asige kare kia G7 egati yabo ayabwatikaine no borendi na yandamange.
The respect that Kenya holds globally is something that is now being emphasized by his presence at this G7 summit. President Ruto has been a very, very important and consequential voice on behalf of the African Union on many global issues. So we expect him to speak to issues that are critical for Kenya, but even more important, he'll be speaking on critical issues on behalf of the continent of Africa. There are a few other countries from Africa that are here also, like Egypt and others from other continents that are not necessarily members of the G7. But what is important is that for Africa, the agenda is largely going to be on how the global economic architecture can be re-engineered so that it can be more useful and more effective in helping countries on the African continent to address the various economic and social challenges. I think that is going to be a very, very important issue. In short, it's normally framed as then a more equitable financial architecture. I think this is going to be a very important conversation. And this includes talking to issues of debt that affects many African countries or many emerging economies, middle income, low income, and emerging economies. That is going to be a core aspect of this conversation. The other aspect that really needs to come out here is that the conflicts, global conflicts, have had a devastating effect on many economies, and Kenya has not been spared. We welcome the announcement that a peace deal has been struck, particularly around the Middle East crisis. But what is more important is that that settlement or that agreement does not in itself erase the damage that has been caused to many economies. Okay, so there has to be a conversation on a recovery strategy for many economies, because the impact, the consequences, the inflationary pressures have already fed into the systems of these countries, and therefore there is going to be a prolonged recovery period, and this needs to be tackled effectively so that we can have critical intervention mechanisms from the G7 and also from the G7 in the context of global institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. This is a conversation that needs to be taken as a second aspect that is serious. We anticipate that there'll be need to have a conversation on the global response to the Ebola challenge. It needs again a united and concerted effort. And finally, I would say that it will be also important that the G7 come to understand that the level of interest and commitment they have been putting in other conflict areas, whether it is in Europe or in the Middle East, the reality is that the G7 seem to have neglected active engagement on the conflicts on the continent of Africa. And specifically, a classic example is the Sudan crisis. So I think these are areas, in my view, that will require very, very special attention, and concrete outcomes and proposals on the way forward will be very, very useful to help in stabilizing the global economy and also putting an end to the conflicts that have caused severe disruption and humanitarian crisis in many countries.
Gotigana na ikura na himense na manaso muchoyega o Nairobi oyo kabero munachi ebi na imense na bwigo murwane rwekerwo kyobra igwense David Maraga oywegore omurai wekiama keria kia United Green Movement magiga yugwetara na county emerongene na isano na isatu eri gusangereria ebirengererio byaba Kenya nigo bone mambia bono ariganirie omusangerekano gusige karo eri gukwanira ya aberega gusangere kurwase aba Kenya nabo igukwanira ayagendrete ime yense abwaseyemo aseyemo tokogenda eri togendrere kubwatia na ali ayagendrete kurwase ensemeyo kurwase nyumba yofangamano asomuchoyega o Nairobi.
I will also give you the microphone and you will also discover it's very difficult to speak. I will give you the microphone. So relax. Let me speak mine. I will also give you your time to speak yours. On the points now, please allow me to invite a long-term comrade, a friend I've known for a long time, presidential candidate several times, a man who gives me all the inspiration, and the one and the Pacific Dr. Etorobini Y'Ensoko Wananchi hoye! Wananchi hoye! UGM! Atikume! UGM! Rais mtarajiwa aliyejitokeza, former Chief Justice wetu Emeritus Maraga, na uongozi wa UGM na wananchi waliofika hapa, hamjambo tena. Ninaitwa Ruben Kigame na ni rafiki wa Chief Justice Emeritus David Maraga. Ni rafiki yangu wa karibu na pia ni mentor kwa mambo ya kulinda sheria. Nimekuja hapa kufanya mambo mawili alafu nikae chini. Jambo la kwanza, nimekuja kutangaza kwamba mimi na Chief Justice Emeritus tunataka kutembea pamoja.
kwa sababu mioyo yetu na maadili yetu yanafanana. Na hakuna haja ya kuinvent the wheel. Hello? Mnanipata? Hakuna haja ya kureinvent the wheel. Jambo la pili, nataka mfahamu sisi Kenya tuna shida 4 kubwa. Shida ya kwanza ni mdomo. Wengi tukifungua mdomo ni uchafu unatoka ndani. Halo, matusi na kudharau wananchi. Watu wanaongea ni kana kwamba wananchi hawaexist. Na wanaongea ni kana kwamba vijana hawaexist. So wanakuwa mfano mbaya, kutukanana ovyo ovyo. Shida yetu ya pili ni tumbo. Kuna wale wanakula sana. Wanakula chakula chao, wanakula cha jirani, wanakula cha watoto, wanakula cha wamama, wanakula kila kitu mpaka wanakula na wajukuu na wale hawajazaliwa. Kwani wana tumbo size gani? Watu wana pesa Kenya hii wanaweza kutumia miaka 1000 wameficha ulafi. Shida ya kwanza ni mdomo, shida ya pili ni tumbo, shida ya tatu ni macho. Halo? Halo? Shida ya tatu Kenya ni macho. Watu wanaona sana. Wakiona shamba lako wanataka. Wakiona mke wako wanataka. Wakiona girlfriend wanataka. Wakiona boyfriend wanataka. Wakiona shememe wanataka. Shida ya macho. Maybe wakati umefika wa kujaribu mtu hatumii macho kuona watu. Halo? Nilisema hivyo 2022 wakanifungia, Chebukati alinifungia. Lakini si mlipata yule anaona? Anawasaidia sana, si ndio? Amewasaidia sana, si ndio? Si mmeingiza wale wanaona? Tuwe kama kule Indonesia waliingiza Abdulrahman Wahid, alikuwa ni kipofu. Tuwe kama Kenya waliingiza mtu kwa wheelchair anaitwa Emilio Kibaki. Time imefika ya kutoa shida ya macho. Shida ya 4 ni kitu kinaitwa conscience. Roho. Tunaongozwa na watu hawana roho, wana roho kama za wanyama. Mtu anaweza kuona kijana wake akiitisha accountability alafu anampiga risasi. Huyo si mtu, huyo ni mnyama. Come on, huyo ni nani? Mtu akienda kuchukua kijana South Nyanza alete Nairobi, anaitwa Albert Ojwang, alafu amuue, alafu adanganye amejiua. Huyo ni mnyama. Hello, nataka tuchanuke na tuamke. Sisi tunajua shida, sasa tunataka suluhisho. Halo? Tunataka nini? Na suluhisho, wacha niwachanue wa Kenya, suluhisho si mtu mmoja. Suluhisho ni kuunda team ambayo hata nyinyi vijana mkiingia mnaweza endesha hiyo gari. Mnanipata? Tuunde team strong, tubadilishe serikali iwe completely new. Tuunde gari jipya ambalo halijatumika. So hatutaki wale wamekuwa pale. Hatutaki wale wametudanganya. Tukiwarudisha sisi ni wajinga. Tuunde kitu kipya, kitu fresh, mwanzo mpya. Nyinyi hapa mnasema reset. Mko sawa? Nasema nini? Reset. Sisi kwa Jenga Mkenya tunasema reboot. Reboot, zote ni new town. Tunataka uso mpya. Tunataka nini? Tunataka new faces. Na face moja iko hapa ya Chief Justice. face ingine inaongea hapa. Tunataka new faces. Face ingine nyingi. Sisi hapa. Si vijana wako hapa wana uongozi wa roho. Vijana wako na nguvu ya kuongoza. New faces kwa parliament, new faces kwa county, new faces kila mahali. Drain the swamp. Tunataka new faces. Kwa hivyo mwisho ni waache na tumaini, kwa sababu without hope you are going nowhere. Here is the hope. Ndugu Chief Emeritus akileta experience ya sheria, na najua wengi hamfahamu kwamba mimi ni mwalimu, nafundisha pale Daystar University. Okay? Nilete mambo ya kutetea walimu na elimu. Nilete experience ya artists. Nimekuwa nikiproduce music tangu 1987. 30 albums. Hawa vijana wanapiga muziki hapa, mimi nawaelewa sana. Tulete experience ya artists. Nilete experience ya social justice. Na nilete experience. Sikiliza hii. Nilete experience ya voters na wale wanaoishi na ulemavu. Wote tuwalete kwa meza moja. Tutakosa kuingia Ikulu. Tuchukue sheria, elimu, usanii, disability, inclusion yote, UGM, ingilete hivi vitu vyote, linda mwananchi, walete wale fresh faces. Tutakosa kuingia? Hatutakosa. Naomba tuungane leo na tuanze mwanzo mpya. Tuanze utu, tulete haki na tulete maadili kwa serikali. Tutoe uchafu nchini Kenya. Mimi nimemaliza, isipokuwa kuna kitu nisipofanya nafikiri nitanyongwa. Mtanipa dakika moja nipe? Mtanipa dakika moja?
Ainega tiari agendera tukwereke kurasa nsemeyo abwa strategy kwendera ko yaretera na kumanya ase obwagare ase omubaso obona wikira na twekera omwaire ase omurobirego beterobiri ase elia lero wikira eliankyo endera gotengera birobire yatigera ase ritukuri matumera na chinsa 10 ase amayase chira yobwengeriane Ishmael Mogere.